We're at the Home Depot, and we're going to try to make an Airwand to go on the Master Blaster Air Force Commander. I have here this little fan nozzle that came with the Master Blaster. It kind of just spreads the air out, and I'm going to use this to get the size and make an Airwand. So here we are, the plumbing aisle. Looking for some PVC and an end cap that fit the right size. Here we go, here's all the PVC. Now we need to find something the same size as this that the nozzle will fit into. Alright, so we got about 1 1/4 inch ID on the tool for the Master Blaster. We got 1 1/4 inch PVC. Comes in these, I guess, like 2-foot sections. And we got an 1 1/4 inch cap. So what the plan is to take the cap, put it on the end of here. The Master Blaster will go in this end, and we're going to drill holes all the way down here and make a wall of air. I think that'll work. How's it going today?
It's going alright. How are you doing?
Good.
Alright, there we go. It's gonna be here at the phone.
$4.13. Hi guys. Well, it turns out the initial pipe I bought, which was 1 1/4 inch, was a little too, the 1 1/4 inch ID was a little too big. This didn't taper quite as much as I thought. So this is 1 inch, which doesn't work either. So I took this hose to Home Depot and I tried it with a bunch of things, and it actually works in this 3-way fitting. So I'm going to have to cut a piece off, and I got a cap, so I'm going to make a cap here, and that'll actually, that might actually help too, as kind of like a handle. So then I was like, what I was planning on doing, so this will go in here like this, and I have another cap for the end, and I'm going to drill holes up here. So then I was like, what size hole should I drill? So I decided to get somewhat scientific on it. So I got my caliper and zero it out in inches. So there's two. This piece is the this fits on the end of the hose for the air blaster, and it's a concentrator, so it just kind of makes it a little more concentrated. So I figure if I make the total holes, all the area of all the holes equal to somewhere between here and here, that would be a pretty good point of reference. So this is, the ID of this is right about 1 inch. And the ID of the collector is about 0.64 inches. So I need to make some calculations and decide how many holes and what size I'm going to make them to make the total airflow similar to what it is between here and here. So the total airflow with all the little holes I drill, which I'm thinking about an 1/8 inch hole. So all those 1/8 inch holes will equal somewhere between here and here, the output of them all. Alright, so I have here the Google area of a circle calculator. So in order to get the area of 2 dimensions, you got to enter the radius. The radius is just half of what the diameter I measured is. So one of them was 1 inch, so I'm going to enter 0.5 for that one, and the area comes up with 0.79 of 1 inch. And the other one was 0.64, so I'm going to enter 0.32. And that one comes up with 0.32 actually. So I need to find an area that's between 0.32 and 0.79. So I'm going to also, I thought about doing an 1/8 inch circle. So I want to see what the area of that 1/8 inch circle is. So an 1/8 inch circle is 1/8 inch is 0.125. So I'm going to do 0.0625, which is half of an 1/8, which is actually a 16th. 0.0625, and that area is 0.012. So now on the high end, I'm going to go to my calculator and I'm going to do 0.79 divided by 0.012. That comes up with 65. So that would be 65 1/8-inch holes for the big number. And on the small side, it was 0.32. I'm going to divide that by 0.012. So I need between 26 and 65 holes. I'm going to measure how much room my caps will take up and how much I need to make that little offshoot, and then see how much I have left. I need between 26 and 65, or 27 and 65 holes. So let's measure that up and see what we got. So the cap on here, I need to cap the end, and then I also need to make a little piece in here and just cut it off and have room to add the cap on here. So I'm going to stick this in until it stops and have a pen. I'm just going to make a mark, and then I'm going to make a mark on this end. I'll measure those, and that's what my length needs to be for this one piece. Tape measure. We got 3/4 of an inch, and I'm guessing this is going to be 3/4 of an inch too. Also, right at 3/4 of an inch. So I'm going to do 1.5 inches to account for both, and I'm going to cut that piece off, and then make another measurement and see how long I'm going to be to see how I want to space my holes. All right, so I marked where I want my cut to be. All this is going to be is so that I can use that that 3-way adapter piece so that this will fit on the master buzzer. And kind of give it a little bit of a handle too, I figured. Then I need to figure out where I want the holes in reference to this little handle. So I got my mark there. I'm going to go ahead and make that cut. Alright, here's my little piece I needed. I'm going to just hit that little piece of sandpaper and clean that up. Alright, so I got my piece. I'm going to take some sandpaper and clean it up. Take the burrs off it so it'll go into the cap and the 3-way adapter easier. And while I'm at it, I'm going to clean up the other end. I'm going to need this piece again, so I'm going to clean this up too. On the inside, on the outside, it comes off real quick. Now I got primer and PVC cement. If you've never used this stuff before, it's not real good to get it on your hands and stuff, but it's pretty easy to use. So the primer is purple, and you get it on your hands like I just did.
Do you want me to get you?
I mean, good job. It'll stain. So the reason it's purple is so that when they're building and they use it, the inspectors can make sure that it's been primed so that they know it'll properly seal. It comes with this little like swab, like cotton swab on the end. You just kind of run it around on your piece. And I'm going to do, and what it does is it kind of just softens up the PVC and lets it kind kind of eats away at the smooth, shiny outside and lets the glue attach to it. This is probably, I mean, alright, so the primer's on all my pieces. Button that up for right now. And then I'm going to hit it with a glue and then put it all together. The glue is clear. And it doesn't stay glue for too long. So I did the inside of there, and I did half of this piece. Just going to press them together until it stops. About like that. Now I got my cap, I'm just going to glue both of those and stick that on there. I just did the one half. I'm just going to stick it together. Oh, excess squeezed out. I'm just going to wipe that off. Now I got my handle basically. So my cord from the Master Blaster is going to go into here. Now I got almost like a gun. I got a handle. I can use it as a holder. I can hold it just on the regular way. Then my Airwand is going to come out of here, and the Airwand is going to come out of there, and then the I'll have my holes in it like this, and a cap on the end to prevent all the air from coming out. So I think this should work. So we'll see. So I knew I was at 3/4 of an inch to here, so I'm going to measure this length and then decide how many holes I'm going to use. So that all put together is right about 21 inches. So I need between 27 and 65 holes for 21 inches. So if I did a hole every half inch, I'd have 42 inches, 42 holes, which is right about in the middle between those two. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to do an 1/8 inch hole every half inch. And I have the drill press pretty much set up. So before I put the ends on, I'm going to drill the holes in the drill press. So I'm going to mark where my hole should be. And I'm going to show you guys a cool trick for getting a straight line on a curved surface. So I'm going to move the camera and I'm going to show you that, and then we'll come back to this. All right, so we want to make a straight line on here so that we get all of our holes lined up in a straight line. So what I'm going to do is, if you take any door frame that has like a little bit of a lip, if you want to get a straight line on a curved piece, can be kind of difficult. But if you just take this, you put it, I made my marks where my end cap's going to be and where my 3-way adapter is going to be, where the hose comes in on the end. So take this like this. You can just run a line right down the pen doesn't want to work now. Now I got a straight line right down my tube, which is sometimes kind of hard to do. But if you do it in the door frame, it's real easy. Alright, so got my PVC tube marked. I'm not sure if you can see that on the camera or not. But I got my hash marks marked on my 21 inches. So I actually came in, I started just in a half inch on each one. I think I ended up with 41 total holes, which is right about between the 27 and 65 that I measured for the total area between the straight hose and the air collector. So the total output of these should be right about in the middle between these two. So got my 1/8 inch drill bit. I'm going to load this into the drill press and start making holes. Alright, so I'm just lining the drill press up. I got this little guide on my drill press. It's kind of handy. Alright, so that's tight. I'm going to hit the wall one way, so I'm going to have to go from one end and then come back and do the other. Pour down. Alright, so I went as far as I could go, and I hit the wall in the back, so I just got to flip it around. Alright, that's all my holes drilled. So just need to put it together and test it out, I guess. Alright, so I got my hole, I got my PVC, all the holes drilled in it. So now I'm going to take, I decided that I want to hold this sideways and have the air shoot down. So I just need to mark that. So I'm just going to dry fit it right now. It's kind of, that's good. So I'm going to take my mark I had from before and just make a little mark on here. So when I line those lines up, when I line the lines up, then I'll know it'll be good. So back to the primer and the cement. I'm going to prime both ends, because this end's getting the cap. And I'm going to prime my cap. And my it's all primed. Everything's primed. Now the glue. Glue the cap on. Good. And on this, I'm just going to line my mark up to my line that I drilled the holes in. Just going to take that and there we go. There's my whole Airwand. So now I guess I'm just gonna, maybe I'll rinse the car off and see how it works. I'm gonna rinse the car off real quick. This is drizzled here a minute ago. So I'm not gonna wash it or anything. Just to test out new Airwand I just made. Just got some water on the car. Now I'm gonna get the Airwand. Pretty cool. You can see a hard line where I did and where I didn't use the Airwand.
Can I zoom in?
I don't know that it dries quite as well as using it just with the air collector by itself, but it's definitely faster. So if you just went over the whole car like this, you could probably do it in a minute or two, and then hit it with with a waffle weave microfiber towel, and I think that would be a really good Really good method for drying. So far, I'm going to do some more testing with it, but this is pretty good.